to new audiences all around the world, from your TEDx talk that's blown up like crazy huge, to working with orchestras, to working with Jamie now that I see you doing a lot of stuff with him. And just the way that you've put together some of the videos that have come out, and just showing how beatboxing is just growing, and you're growing with the art too, because doing a set with Gene, like you said, where you do something and maybe it's a little bit uncomfortable because it's only been practiced a few times, but then you smash it, and you smash it at GBB, and then listen to it back, you're like, oh, it's still, so it's not on one person to go and, if you claim yourself you're a legend, that's different than a bunch of people in the room telling you, oh, that guy's a friggin' legend there, buds. Like it's good to go and take that in.
Yeah,
so,
word.
I wouldn't take it in as you saying you're older or nothing like that. I just think that it's getting to that point where you put in a lot of work, man, and it's definitely noticed from around the world. So it's I'm happy to go and see you go and continue to crush stuff. And one thing I wanted to ask too, that's from Mary Carpio off of Twitter, and this is actually a question that I think is hard to remember for myself and for any beatboxer. So how do you, when you're training to do shows, right? If you have a show coming up, how do you remember, especially with Loop Station, but how do you remember all the parts and knowing that I have to go put in this part here, put in that part here, I know I have to change, other than just continuous practice? What do you do on stage to go and keep yourself stable and in the moment and being like, okay, next up, I have these 10 things to go and do. I have to, or in my mind, like the TEDx talk, for example, you're like, I'm going to do this beat to this beat to this beat, and then I'm going to go and do this piece on the Loop Station. But how do you remember all those things when it comes down to actually performing and it's in the moment?
Yeah. So, well, the TEDx was mostly freestyle, to be honest, man. Like I had a framework of things that I wanted to do, but I only found out that I was having to fill extra time on the morning of the performance. So I just kind of like riffed over things in my head that I think would be funny to mention. But I didn't precisely plan that one out, which I think was actually good, because if I had have planned it out, I would have overthought it and probably like overcooked it. So that one was very freestyled. Like a lot of my surprise was actually like genuine surprise, because I didn't really know where I was going. It was kind of good, but a lot of the time, like for other TED Talks I've done, I've really meticulously planned stuff, and obviously just like repetition and practice, even like videoing stuff, watching it back, making mental notes, making physical notes, applying them, repracticing. But a lot of the time, man, I just have my iPad on my table with me with like cheat notes, just like, after this, like I'll break down the structure of the song, maybe have like the first line of lyrics, or if it's something new, and it's the first time I'm performing it, I'll have like cheat notes, like effect 3, channel 5, kick drums, stuff, because it's never the same as when you practice it in your bedroom. I don't care who tells me that. If in my experience, like Gene and I, we practice that piece so much to the point where we were like so slick at it, and as soon as I got on stage, just dropped nuts hard. I was just like, "Mom's scared, Mom." So that's why I was like, I was a bit rocked. But yeah, man, I would just say, like, even just a tiny little piece of paper with a few integral notes that even if the crowd is like not vibing on you, not that they would for any reason, but you can always look at your notes, and that's like a nice little home point. Even if you don't read, it's a little reset button. You can kind of go down, focus on that, go into your own head, refresh, and then just come back again with a clear mind.
Now, real quick, you brought up an interesting thing of what happens as, again, you're on stage, you have 15-minute showcase, whatever booking's happening, you have 15 minutes. Now you go up there, and because again, you're using so much technology, right? What happens, like, how do you keep yourself calm in a moment where it's like, oh great, the looper didn't work, or this thing didn't work, which I assume has happened multiple times, but how do you keep on going through that and being able to hold the professional feel for the people, not just to be like, boo.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know, like how do you keep yourself calm when you're on stage like that in a moment
yeah.
of switch over, of something going wrong? I'm sure people understand, but I mean, for
Yeah.
yourself, what do you keep yourself calm? Because a lot of people, I see it in the chat as well when I brought up the idea, but what is like, again, I see people that do things, and when something doesn't go right, they're in their head immediately scared, nervous. Now I'm going to put my head down and pretend this isn't happening until something comes back on. But as a professional and somebody that's been doing it for a while, being able to go and take that and you know, owning it or whatever, what goes through your head or mind to go and keep the crowd there and not just kind of written off of like, well, this performance is done and moving forward.
Well, I guess, man, like, firstly, I always get terrified when I'm on stage. Like, and sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's unhealthy. But because everything screws up so often over the, like 10 plus years that I've been performing, almost 20 plus years. Nah. But around that vicinity, you just deal with it because you've practiced screwing up so many times. You've done it so many times that it just becomes part of it. Like the show that I do with Jamie is often more mistakes than it is correct. Like and if you're on stage and you're comfortable with the person you're on stage with, or if you're comfortable with your crowd, if you can ingratiate yourself to them, like, I think it's, for me, when I perform, I'm not playing a character Tom Thum. I'm not playing like, I'm just being me off stage, on stage. And so I think it's important to bring a demeanor of casual chaos to the stage to start with, because then it allows you a little bit of leeway to make mistakes and talk to people and be calm and be like a resonating voice of, I'm the captain right now. Yeah, that was a bit of an iceberg, but like by the time we actually sink, we'll be land based. So yeah, I think it has a lot of roots in just being calm about it, not being afraid to poke fun at yourself, like that. I think that's really important. But I think maybe that also can't be applied to everything. Like in an orchestra, you can't, like, the conductor can't like pass out drunk into the front row and be like, oh, whoops, here we go again. Whoa.
It's continuously
but I
looping
can.
that, eh? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, well I hope to see that one day. Maybe we'll make a more private of shows, and we'll see you kind of stumbling
Yeah.
over some words there, bud.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, I'm going to do a quick fire question. You don't have a lot of time left because we've been sitting here again. Tom Thum, if you guys are just tuning in right now, I hope you've enjoyed the chat that we're having with them right here live, BoxCon Global 2020 online. But I want 3 quick answers from you, and these are just current. From Carlos Bueno Lopez off of Twitter. Who is your current favorite solo beatboxer?
Gene Shinazaki.
Who is your current favorite tag team?
I want to say Spider Horse, but then it sounds like favoritism. So I'm going to say Mad Twins.
Mad Twins. All right. And last but not least, who is your current favorite looper?
Current favorite looper. MB14. I just love the guy.
Yeah, I gotta love MB14. He just put out a bunch of tutorials as well. If you guys are watching at home, check out Swiss Beatbox. They just put out a huge bunch of tutorials about how to use the RC505. Maddox helped produce that, and it's a really good one. So that's a good question. I like that. Got some good answers out of there. And another one is, how do you when you're putting your songs together? I know you said kind of earlier when you were answering the question about making the videos where you have the camera and you just take. When you're building a loop, if you have a song in mind that you want to go and do and perform, right? How do you go and cut that up? How do you go and cut that up to go and making into a loop and really practice into a piece? Like, is it just an idea that you said you're just walking around mowing your lawn and then in your mind you're like, oh, I kind of like that tune, I'm going to go and play with that, and then you go and play with it until there's a piece? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so same kind of process as how I build videos. The thing is, man, like a lot of like looping. A lot of people build loops for battle rounds these days, which is strange because you have to fit it in the context of a battle and in the context of a round. So you've got a time limit, and you've sometimes got a perceived energy level that you want to exude with your beats or with your loop station performance. But I just often sit there for hours and just practice harmonies and practice building stuff until I've nailed down a specific melody line. I'll record it on my phone so I don't forget it. And then I'll just come back every day for like a week and refine it. And usually it'll end up being about 6 or 6.5 minutes long, like something that I would consider a song. And then I'd show it to my girlfriend, and then when she starts looking at her phone, I'll take those 8 bars out. Okay, like, yep, okay, that's not good, that part.
Yeah, tension just going up.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to find valuable layers. I often am guilty of just stacking up layers, minute details, little tiny shakers, or little textures on snares that no one will ever notice, or layering up things like harmonies that are so buried in the mix that often they only just like color sound. So I guess I have to be, one thing that I'm trying to be more conscious of is just choosing very succinct, valuable layers, not overspicing the mix, because you have to build these things on stage live. And often if people can't hear it exactly and tell what it's doing to the purpose of the song whilst you're performing it live, it just looks like you're licking a top of a microphone. And people are just like, well, what the hell is this guy doing?
Well, I think some people would pay for that,
yeah, exactly.
One of the
That's
evening
a different
shows.
kind of webcam.
Yeah, right. I got the setup. A guy got the lights and a camera. I thought, man's got to eat. Man's got to eat out here.
Yeah. Oh, we've all got to figure out ways to make money.
All right, guys. We're with Tom Thum once again, right here live. If you enjoyed the conversation we've had with him, please right on the right here in the sideline, go and put some comments in. Thank you very much, Tom. And before we get off with you, is there any projects coming up? Are there any things that you want to go and tell the beatbox world about, people that are watching this, that just information about yourself in general of what you're doing right now, or is there some project coming up that you'd like to go and plug?
Yeah, of course. I'm about to drop 2 new text videos. Well, actually, I don't even know when they're going to drop. You just kind of you feed them to the people, and then they kind of come out whenever they are. But recently I performed at TEDx Gateway in Mumbai with the Bombay Chamber Orchestra, and I did a solo performance there. The solo one I'm excited about because I'm trying some super like weird Enya-esque kind of stuff. And I think it's the perfect time to be calm about music. So it's a very strange piece, very different for what I do. So I'm very happy with that. And then a 12-minute performance with the Bombay Chamber Orchestra where we just combined like all the best parts of our orchestral show and weaved it into a bit of a concerto. So I'm also super hyped about that. I've just finished writing a commission piece for a choir on celestial navigation. I found this like fantastic old school tutorial on how to navigate by the stars. Okay. And so I wrote a piece of music for voice around it, which was it's super